Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a quick review of the MT03 at the 800 mile mark. I'll do a more in-depth review when we hit 1,000 miles. So what can I say about this bike? So this is my first bike. I got it as a beginner bike, got it brand new. I've had it just a couple months. I actually technically started out on the Royal Enfield Scram 411, and I probably put about 600 or 700 miles on that before I changed up and got the MT03. So my husband actually rides the Scram 411. So first things I can say about the bike is there are some upgrades on it. This is not necessary because I needed it for performance wise. I just like the overall look of it. So these are a lot of cosmetic things. I will say that it is a sturdy bike. I have dropped it a couple times, as you will see. Got some scuffs there. So I later installed the Womatech crash guard kit, so I probably should have had that on there first. I have no complaints about this bike. Like, it handles well, it goes and does what you want it to do. The one thing that I will say that people have talked about, which is the long throttle. So if you've never rode a bike and maybe you're a beginner rider and you're going to start out on this bike, it's kind of hard to explain how that feels. But for example, today when we were riding, I had to readjust my hands multiple times to maintain speed. So it's kind of like you're going, and I had to do that. Then I had to hold my thumb and then try to re-grip to pull back. So that is kind of annoying. Is that like a serious technical issue? No. And you can buy a shorter throttle tube for that and to fix that if you find that that's a problem for you. Other than that to me is just more of like a small annoyance, and that only happened today because we were on highway speeds and we were maintaining highway speeds for a long period of time. Normally, how I commute on this bike is not in a city. I'm in the rural part of Virginia, a lot of mountain roads, a lot of curvy roads, twisty roads, and this bike does awesome. She takes the turns, she takes the curves like a boss. She loves it, she goes for it. I don't have a problem with it. The fastest I've had the bike is up to 80, and I didn't have to fight for it. Now, keep in mind, I'm a beginner rider, so I don't have a lot of experience on faster, bigger bikes. So if you've rode faster, bigger bikes, you might feel like the MT03 is slow. You might feel like, oh, it doesn't kick off and go as fast as you want, like right off the line. And that might be, a relevant complaint to someone who's had a lot of practice riding a lot of bikes. But I haven't, so for me, I haven't had a problem. I've merged in and out of traffic. I've maintained speeds. I've passed. I've been able to gear down and get around people when I needed to. So it's not an issue for me. She does have a low seat height. I'm about 5'5". Debatable. We tend to argue about that in my family. Technically, I'm like 5'4.5" or something like that. So I am a short rider, and that is actually why I transitioned from the Scram 411 to the MT03. They're about an inch difference, and you might not think that that's significant, but that's very significant for me. I'm able to flat feet on one side, which is important. Everybody's kind of got one leg that's a little bit shorter than the other, but that's important to me to feel like I have better control over the bike. I will also say the area that we live in, like our driveway and a lot of the roads, are not the best roads, so you can't do that kind of like tippy toe thing that you do at a lot of, like I see a lot of people do on like Instagram when they're on like city roads, because we don't have flat roads around here, okay? Like, these roads are janky, like for real, they're janky, okay? This is a coal mining area. You got to share the road with co-trucks. Like, these are not pristine roads. So let me think of anything else I can think of. So I'm going to get my husband on the bike now and just show you. So again, I'm about 5'4", let's say 5'5", okay guys, 5'5", and so he's about 6 foot tall, and this is him sitting on the MT03. Now, he rode the bike and he said it felt comfortable. We've been riding a little bit. He's muddy, but as you can see, his knee is right up into the cut on the tank. So my knee isn't. I have plenty of room right there. So I would say he's about the maximum height you would want to be to ride this bike. It is made for a smaller rider, beginner rider. A lot of people say it's a women's bike. You know, I don't know. Pretty much everyone I see riding it is a man, so who knows. But all I'm saying is just for that height reference, just if you're someone that is on the taller side, this might not be the most comfortable bike for you to ride, just to compare and contrast. So you saw his knee kind of up there, right up into the cut on the tank. Let's see how he looks on the Scram. So on the Scram, he doesn't have such a kind of a tight foot peg position. So one thing they will talk about is they'll say that the MT03 does not have an aggressive foot peg position. But if you're looking at how his foot is here, the peg is pretty much straight. The MT03 does have that kind of sport bag feel. So while it's not as aggressive and the ergonomics is, you can sit pretty much upright, there is kind of that position with the foot pegs where it's a little more sporty. It's not as sporty as, you know, a super sport or like a legit bigger naked bike, but it does have that little bit of putting your foot back just a bit to make that sporty appearance. So overall, I would say the bike's great. It's fantastic. I love it. I don't regret getting it. I've had a blast on it, and man, we have torn up the roads on this thing. So I highly recommend if you're interested in the MT03. I have no complaints on it. Just that long throttle, sometimes a little bit annoying, but honestly, it takes you 0.5 seconds to move your hand. That's not like that's a significant thing. So I will do a more in-depth review at the 1,000-mile mark, and I'll kind of go over things specifically. But seating position good. I will say one thing about the seat before I go and I forget. The seat is not the most comfortable. Like initially you hop on there, it feels good, you're skirting around, you're having a good time. But, you know, I mean, it's got some squish to it, you know what I'm saying? But when you're on the sucker for 40 minutes, your butt starts hurting. And at first I thought maybe it's because my butt was not used to it, but I kind of think that, you know, 40 minutes to an hour and a half might be like kind of the most that I can do before I stop and stretch for a minute. But my endurance has built up. But that's also something I've seen a lot of MT03 people kind of complain about. There is an upgraded seat you can get if you're interested. I'm not at that point where that's something that I really feel like I want. I just feel like I can pull over and drink some water and hydrate and get back on my bike and get going. All right, guys. Well, thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you guys following me and tagging along. Be sure to like and subscribe and share with your peeps if they enjoy biking, specifically beginner biking. We'll have more content coming up, and I hope you guys have an awesome work week. Peace out.